I'd like to call this committee of the whole meeting to order for September the 16th, 2024. I'd like to acknowledge that we're on Treaty 5 territory. It's ancestral land, Indigenous Ways of Cree Nation, homeland to the Red River Métis. Next, I would need an approval of the agenda. Anthony?
The admin team is requesting that we remove item 7.1 from the agenda, and we'll bring it back to the next committee of the whole. So we need a motion to do so.
Where's the motion?
I'll make a motion.
Councillor Fitzpatrick moves. Did you have a question or you're seconding it, Councillor Wong?
That's all right. I'm second.
Seconded. Seconded by Councillor Wong. All in favor? Carried. 7.1 will be removed.
Now we need the motion to approve the agenda.
Yeah, now we need a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Councillor Wong, Councillor Fitzpatrick, all in favor? Carried. Just before we get into our presentation of delegations, I'd like to congratulate Oswald Saw, who won the by-election, will be our 8th city councillor. I'd also like to thank Earl for his 6 years of service, Earl Holberg, for his 6 years of service to the citizens of Thompson. Oswald will be sworn in next Monday at 7 o'clock here in the building. Thank you. Next, we have a presentation, delegations. MKO on the monument, Anthony.
Yep, so the delegation has 10 minutes. They can come forward and make their presentation. I believe there's 2 people online.
Hey. Good evening, everyone. My colleagues are online over in.
Yep, I tried to add them as speakers, but they declined.
Okay, that's fine. All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Heidi Spence. I'm the director of the MKO MMIWG liaison unit. So we're here to talk about the monument. So I'm just gonna go over, I think you guys all received the briefing note. So the MKO Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls Liaison Unit is working on the MMIWG 2S monument here in the city of Thompson. There currently is no monument in northern Manitoba that honors the lives of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and 2S LGBTQI plus people. So the unit was granted funding from the Women and Gender Equity Canada, or WAGE, to develop a commemorative MMIWG monument. And our partners are the City of Thompson, Valley, Manitoba Hydro, and the Province of Manitoba. So the MMIWG unit has presented to the City of Thompson Council on December 5th, 2022 to inform of our commemoration project. And I think back then I had some visuals and I shared with everybody. I'm not too sure if you guys got copies of those this time for the final, right? So we also provided briefing notes to the council on June 5th and 15th of 2023 to help with in-kind support. And on June 5th, the council discussed to change our initial location, which was on the hill by the Miles Hart Bridge, now to a spot near City Hall, which I guess would be on the corner of Mystery Lake Road and Elizabeth Drive, just out here. So the cost of the installation is $38,500. That includes the concrete piles, the permit, concrete testing, line locations, and equipment rentals. So that what we needed is the approved use of the land selected by the City of Thompson on the corner of Mystery Lake and Elizabeth, which is near City Hall. The parking lot, which would be to utilize the City Hall parking lot, like when we host events and whatnot, and maintenance of the monthly electrical bill. So our previous application with Manitoba Hydro, the application has expired, so we had to resubmit the application for the electrical work, and we're just waiting on a response from Manitoba Hydro. So in conclusion, we have secured funding for the installation. And we have also confirmed that A and B builders will be the ones to do the foundation for the monument. Ideally, we would like to begin the process before the snow falls, which is short period of time, given that we live in northern Manitoba. And to complete this project successfully, we need the city of Thompson's approval on the above mentioned items of 1, 2, and 3. As for the electricity bill in the future, about 5 to 15 years, when the city of Thompson is unable to maintain the electrical bill, MPO has agreed to carry out the expenses for electricity. And the MPO unit will provide continuous maintenance to the monument, such as damages, cleaning, and things of that nature.
Thank you. Questions? Councilor?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you for you to come and give us a level of clarification. I want to clarify one thing from the administration. Elizabeth Drive, is it permitted for parking on the right-hand side? If you go towards from,
I couldn't answer that on the spot. I'd have to find out for you. Yeah.
Well, Elizabeth Drive, once you get past the fire hall, it's parking on the right-hand side.
so it's permitted, right? So it's not like you're not allowed. So with that area will be enough to accommodate what you guys request.
I think so. I don't see our gatherings being so big that, it would cause a hazard. But based on what our original proposal, the parking lot side, I think the parking that's, within this area would be more than accommodating for the events that we would have.
Because may I continue? Because I myself, I know that the city parking lot, a lot of time we have a lot of city vehicles. So I'm afraid that's not going to accommodate what your request, so I try to look for the alternative.
Yeah.
So the alternative I just clarified by the administration, which is the Elizabeth Drive, which is you're allowed to park. So I believe it's still better than before the proposal on the Muscovy Road.
Yeah.
You guys have the monument on the bridge side, right? So I think it's way better and safer.
I
So
agree.
I don't know, it's all up to all my colleagues that whether they agree with my suggestion or not, because myself, I see would be a problematic for the city parking lot. That's my personal view, but I don't know the rest. My other question is about the light, the hydro. So you're talking about 4 spotlight, right? To shine the monument, right?
Yeah, so there's pot lights, and then like in the actual monument, there's lights that are lit into the design of it too, like really kind of soft lights.
So when you have the design, do you know what is the power that the drawing for that kind of power that you use?
That would be a Jeremy question. If he's on.
Lyle?
Yeah, if I can, there was actually an email provided earlier on for the power demand. And it was estimated, this is worst case scenario, this is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That it would be roughly between $17 to $20 a month. Now, the monument will be equipped with a dusk to dawn sensor, so the lights will be on during the day. So again, in the summer, that 24 hours a day will be down to
Before the cell,
6 hours, and then the winter it'll be 17 hours. So again, that $20 a month is kind of a worst case scenario number.
but then at least we know what are we looking at, right?
Yeah.
If let's say we're willing to commit certain things like that, right? So appreciate that. Thank you. I'm good.
Thank you.
Councilor Lambert?
Thank you. I've seen the design, it hasn't changed, right?
No, there was just like some fine, like just kind of fine detail kind of tweaking, but in terms of the size and, the design that I presented the last time I came, there hasn't been any big significant changes, just little minor details.
The only question I had was where the corner is. It would be on this side of the sidewalk, right?
So, yeah.
Yeah, so it would be out of the way for obstructing vision neighbors. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Lyle?
Sorry, just to add, yeah, the site plan is being reviewed with our chief building inspector as well to make sure that it's back and it's out of what they call the triangle.
There's a
So that,
line of sight.
line of sight is not secured.
Beautiful, thank you. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. Councilor McCarthy? Anyone else? Councilor John?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Director Spence, right? To give us a presentation. Originally, when I look at your proposal, the time was up the hill.
Yeah.
And then suddenly when I come in one day, I say, look, the Thompson City Hall, we need something that people, high traffic, people can see what is happening here. So that's, I suggest to Madam Mayor and kind of communicate with your MKO. So thanks for accepting my idea.
Of course, thank you for presenting that idea. You know, we had a lot of time to also think about it too, and you know, it is a really good location, and you know, accessibility to it, you know, safety was a big concern as well, because it's right on the highway by the bridge, right? So there are a lot of
Yeah, you don't want vandalism, right?
exactly.
Yeah, and actually, since that conversation, they took away about half that hill when they were redoing the bridge and had that, so.
I noticed.
It would be a much smaller site, there's really no safe way, safe parking in that area at all, so. Definitely, I'm glad to see that Councillor Chong called me out one night and said, you know, this would be better, so. Thank you, Councillor Chong.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you for your did you have comments?
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Definitely it'll move on. And, I'm glad to see it is
Excellent.
moving ahead.
Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Before we go to community comments and feedback, I forgot to note that we have regrets from Deputy Mayor Valentino. She is en route, to Ottawa for, FCM. And, Councillor Orberdorfer has sent regrets. Next, we'll go to community comments and feedback.
Ron Matachuk, 20 Ash Street. I was wondering if I'm ever gonna receive, replies to my questions I've asked in the past. There are at least 2 questions that I have not received answers to.
Which ones would those be, sir?
There's a financial question that Lynn is working on to do with the enterprise vehicles, and I believe there's questions on the road work. And there's just been vacations and they'll be getting the answers when they.
I
have
will
time
be
to get through.
receiving answers then. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments, community comments, feedback?
If I may, Penny Vire with the Thompson Seniors Community Resource Council and our chairperson Molly Stapleton. We're here just to answer any questions should they arise in discussions later on. I understand we're on the agenda tonight.
Thank you. Okay. Seeing no one else here, we will go into reports. 5.1 is the RCMP report.
Evening, Mayor. We provided June, July, and August for reports to the actual staff. So I'll just review the August ones publicly as they kind of roll into each other to be the most current, and I'll release some proactive work and police community relations work as well throughout the summer. For the crime trend reporting, overall we have 11,820 calls for service, which is down for calls for service as this time last year. Theft over 5,000, slight increase of 5%. Theft under, including shoplifting, increase of 4%. Mischief, slight decrease of 11%. Break and enter to residences. There's been a slight increase in those calls for service. Assault with weapon, aggravated assault, very minute increase in calls for service. Sexual assaults and sexual interference, decrease of 7%. Drug possession and drug trafficking, there's been an increase there, but this also encompasses proactive work. Impaireds, there's been a decrease of 12%. Collisions, a decrease of 7%. And public disorder, there's been an increase of 14%. And there's been an increase of 11% to the healing center that's requested previously. So far for the year, we've had 3,327 prisoners, which is just a minute decrease from the previous year. For proactive work here in June. Really good work done by our Thompson GIS as well as our GD members here. If you go to the June offender management crime reduction, June 14th, there was a search warrant under the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act for a quarter kilo of cocaine, 9mm handgun, and approximately about $11,000 in Canadian currency were seized. 7 offenders were charged in this incident. June 28th, 4 CDSA search warrants were done and executed by our Thompson GIS here, and that is about, we seized approximately $250,000 in Canadian currency with about 2 kilograms of cocaine. And the persons arrested had some ties to Ontario. June 19th, we had another search warrant under the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act, where $715 and about 22 grams of cocaine and cell phones. And a prolific offender from Ontario was arrested and in custody. June to August in total, there was 11 curfew checks on high-risk offenders. In June, we arrested. That was June. And we go into July here. July 9th, another search warrant under the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act for 4 ounces of cocaine was seized. 2 males were arrested and remanded, and they had ties to Winnipeg. In July and August, there was 10 offenders that were arrested. Those are on outstanding warrants. And August, RGIS team provided some relief to our general duty members in the form of taking calls for service to assist with some vacation leave and some other shortages. For PCR of community relations, they did a lot of good work downtown this year. So far they've delivered or handed out approximately 110 cases of water. They've made multiple patrols downtown handing out said water. They assisted with the Westwood School fire there in June and helped with the muster point at the TRCC. July. And in July, they helped out with senior citizens program and cycling without age. Again, more bottled water. They did that throughout the summer here for persons downtown. Visited Hope North. They did a report on some guns by youth. And they donated some camping supplies to Watermark Community School grade 6 for a trip to Pink Lake. They attended the Hello Parents meeting for summer safety, and they provided some assistance with the Nickel Days Parade and Nickel Days events over that weekend. That's pretty much it for this summer reporting. There's also some other forms there for our wait times and calls for service regarding mental health act. That's for council, I set that on a separate form. As well as the personal, applications. That's it.
Thank you. Comments, questions? Councilor Wong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Inspector Dave. You know, how's your staffing now about the member? Are you guys fill up all the blank now or still shortage or?
There's always gonna be some ebbs and flows here. I will say we're getting 2 members here this month. And another one next month, so it will be boosting our membership for sure.
The reason I ask because usually you give us those chart, but.
Yes,
this
and
one
I've
see, so I don't.
Yeah, I think we can set up meetings with council to discuss any of the staffing issues.
Okay.
So we'll do that more on camera.
Supposed to be this month, right?
Pardon?
The meeting with them, supposed to be this month.
We can set up a meeting whenever council wants. So if council wants a meeting this month, we can set one up.
I'm with the high members this month.
Sure, why not? Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I've had a number of phone calls today after the shooting last night. Before and after the press release, people are concerned of whether the person with the was found. Or if there was no warnings put out for people to be extra cautious or that, so they were just sort of wondering the status of that case.
Yep, they're our members are still investigating the incident. And still nobody in, I'll see at this time, and they're still investigating to determine the identity. Let's go putting out some messaging as well.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Wong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Since you asked, so I also add on with, we do have a lot of call from public about the concern. So, the victim is only okay, right? So basically, what exactly that happened? Like, are they anything to do with the drug or just,
I can't comment on the ongoing investigation. Whatever was sent out in the media release is pretty much what I can discuss.
there's not much information.
There's not a whole lot of information, but we're still investigating, so I didn't want to compromise the investigation anyway, so. I can't comment any further, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other comments, thank you very much for the report. That helps us moving forward. Appreciate all that you do. Thank you. 6.2, sorry. Community safety report. Sonia?
So the staff at the public safety department, we built in a lot of online trainings and courses to enhance your knowledge of the conflict resolution and situational awareness courses. Community safety officers met with Kim. Kim is working to, which is a that's the name, what Kim, the acronym for Kim, but it's Kim is through MKO. So Kim is working to implement a health and social care vehicle in Thompson. The plan is for the vehicle to provide basic health care to help people who aren't able to access healthcare at the hospital or the clinic in Thompson. The van is going to be staffed with a registered nurse and outreach workers and support staff. This is obviously good for the people downtown who need to access that. It also gives the CSOs an additional option to be able to direct people they need and they can give them rides. We're not sure at this point where the vehicle is going to be parked or located, but it probably will be somewhere in the downtown area. Our understanding is that this vehicle should be in the community towards the end of September. We currently have one vacant CSO position. One of our new staff we just started his first day of training today in Brandon. And that is a 4-week course. So when he comes back, we'll have 3 for sure. And we're just waiting for one more testing on our 4th CSO. There's another training class that's taking place in October. So we're looking that we can have that all done to be able to have that individual go to the training course in October. If we're not able to do that, it's going to be a few months before the next training course takes place. And I can add, there were some emails going back and forth, they are looking at having a course here in Thompson. A lot of the feedback that came from all the other outlying communities that have NSOs or CSOs are really interested in taking place in Thompson. So I did let them know that we would help them in any way that we can to be able to make that happen. The CSOs have 2 new vehicles now. The vehicles have a couple of extra things that are on these vehicles versus that were on the cars. They're easier to get people in, they're obviously bigger, and they're higher off the ground, so it's easier to transport people. We do have bike racks put on them as well, so they can carry the bikes around with them, and park the vehicle and ride on the bike instead of having to kind of come back and forth to City Hall. We've also put a PA system, which enables them to be able to do a lot of crowd control and direct people that are in large crowds, which is good for their safety. There's an oversized crowd that's causing issues. Since we've had the vehicles, the CSOs have been able to get back and doing transports and moving people around, bringing them to safe locations. They've done 32 transports, including 24 to the Variety Center, 1 to the Y, to a residence, 95 Creek, and 4 to other locations such as a hotel if they were staying at a hotel. They have been dealing with, again, quite a bit. I've got a few stats here. A lot of open liquor. They've moved along a lot of people. They've lodged people at the RCMP under the IPA. The CSOs also this summer assisted the RCMP crowd control west of the school. And I didn't get indicated on here, but they also assisted with nipple days over the summer. They worked, I think, the 4 days and nipple days was there. So they worked, I think it was 12-hour shifts there. It was just that work in the grounds of the nipple days. And very hot days as well to add. They also handed out a lot of water over the summer to keep people hydrated on the hot days. Our taxi, we've downloaded one request from the RCMP for video downloads. We had 1 limo license issued, so we hadn't had a limo leave on the road probably for a good 10 years. So now we've just issued the limo license. So see that around too. For the bylaw, property standards continues to be the main focus. If you look at our statistics, they're pretty much, they kind of keep consistent in place for the community members over the summer. From June, July, and August, we're 20. Animals running at large, mostly dogs. They did increase in August. Our numbers today for dogs licensed were 238 and 40 for cats. Again, that is quite low for October or for August. We just have to get a little bit better at trying to enforce people and licensing their cats when they do run at large. They but I'm sure that if I could go back and compare to the years prior, I know we had upwards of probably about 5 years ago, over 600 dogs registered. Cats has always been low in the community, but we know that we have more than 40, so cats are a little harder to recognize that there's cats unless they're running at large with no license, no tag. We just need to come up with a different way to try to get people to comply with that. And for the bylaw statistics, the summer months, August, it looks like they went down a little bit, probably due to people being on vacation. If you look at our garbage and recycling bins, I mean, in June and July, we had 24 and 28 tickets issued, and August we had nothing. The same thing for Park Street or Garbage Day. So it looks like our numbers were down a little bit here. Our handicap parking continues to be consistent. We do put in a lot of notices for handicap parking that people continue to park there. So 19 tickets were issued in August. That is my questions.
Thank you. Supposed to learn on work.
Yeah, I know we used to do things a little different when we had committees, different committees, so it feels odd to ask questions here. This. Can we do the whole thing? With our bylaw standards with property standards, is that like, parking on your front lawn and stuff like that. Okay, I know I've had some complaints about that. People that discussed it with our bylaw officers said that the bylaw officers didn't have the teeth to do anything, because as long as people would move things a bit, that they're complying with the bylaw. I don't remember when we reviewed the bylaws, if there was ways that we could change it so that there was something wrong that get done. Like, there's places in town where there's deep freezes in the front yard and there's a heck of a mess thing. Have we looked at that recently? Yeah.
Yes, we continue to review all of our bylaws. The winter time is really a good time to be able to review that in the summertime. Inspectors are very busy in the summertime.
Yeah.
I can tell you that he has been quite busy dealing with property standards, with items that you just spoken of, with things on front lawns, garbages, mattresses, deep fridges. So he has done a lot of work on the counter. Again, there's just one gentleman in that role that's specifically just focused on the bylaw, so the property standards bylaw, so they do get tickets. We have had public works to go over and clean up properties because they no longer, or the landlord remember not cleaning up the property, so we have done that as well, and that is quite costly. So we do continue, and yes, parked on the front of the lawn. Yes, there is a ticket that they can do give warnings. First, we try to speak to somebody and let them know we can't do this, and provide them a copy of the bylaw or the section bylaw. And then if they do move it, they're not given a ticket. So we try to work with the homeowners so that be enforceable on that end.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony.
Again, I think we do find that they're given multiple warnings, they're also given the tickets, and if they don't comply, like they said, we'll use Public Works to do the cleanup. And then what that normally entails is, once they get that bill, then we get huge complaints, because the bills can sometimes be $4,000 to $10,000 for cleanups. Because the amount of staff and the amount of material they're moving. And then once people get the bill, we normally are told, well, if I knew it was that much, I would have cleaned it up myself. So it turns into a dispute, it becomes difficult. The only way to collect is really to put the cost towards taxes if they're not paid. So that's kind of where the teeth come in for that. But pretty much every cleanup we use Public Works has turned into a dispute later on.
Well, these people will know that when you said it. Thanks.
Councilor Wong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Director Weissman, for the report. I got two questions out of this report. Number one is about the, you talk about the brand new CSO Ford Explorer. What's the difference between this and the previous vehicle that you guys did for the backseat? For the reason the first VSO destroyed by the customer. The backseat is disgusting. So now the brand new vehicle, what have you done, or what's the difference?
They installed a high quality cover over the back seat, so it's completely covered. There's nothing on the floor right now, so we can hose it or anything on it.
So washable.
Very good, yes.
Thank you. Second question is about the limo license. Can you clarify to me, the limo license, are they allowed to pick up fare, or it has to be booking only?
Okay.
Are they paying the same fee?
It's what's identified in the visa schedule.
I'm not quite recalling, but I don't need to know the amount, but I'm just saying, are they equivalent to the normal taxi's license?
No, they pay by the half hour, I believe, to the hour, so there's not a meter in the vehicle. There's no meter. And I'd be guessing at the numbers right now, but I think it's somewhere around $35 for a half hour or somewhere. I can't remember too much off the top of that, but the visa times. So if you go into a regular time with that, there is a flat rate to get in, and then the meter goes up every when you drive. With the limo, there's not, that's not it, that's per hour.
So is a limo require the same kind of inspection with a regular taxi?
Yes.
Which is like quarterly or 3 times a year? I don't.
Yeah, the inspections are the same. There is, the difference is there's no camera located inside of the, that's the difference usually.
Maybe I think somehow we need to look into that, that license kind of like weird to me. Because if they pay the same amount of fee for that, unit for booking, I think they're not gonna make it. They're not gonna make it. Anyway, it is what it is, I just found it out because obviously I get called for asking those questions, I said, I don't know. I didn't even know that someone got the license.
We had multiple people that, we did a lottery job, and the person who has the license, did a lot of research. And there's a lot of talk back and forth with the license inspector, knowing what their needs were, and what they could do. They know that they can't hail, it's not like a regular taxi cab. They can go to the airport and get people rides in from the airport if they would like to do that. But yeah, they can't, just pick up somebody's something else, just.
Is that true? They're also not allowed to sit in the limo.
Correct, they can't sit, they're not a taxi cab. Yeah, they can't just sit
But they
there
can park somewhere, but they cannot sit inside the limo. Right? So
and wait for, wait for a fare.
something.
They can't wait for fares, they can't pick up, right now, as the bylaw states that they can't wait to pick up the fare, no. They would have to. So they can't go sit next to another taxi cab, hoping somebody gets in their vehicle, cannot do it. That's against the bylaw.
Kind of like a Uber limo then. Yeah, all right. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions? First one, Councillor Strong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Director. Can you help me to understand a little bit more your hierarchy of command, such as, you are looking after the public safety, right? And then you have a safety manager under you? And what happens if you go on holiday? Can the safety manager look after the immigration?
No.
No.
No, the public safety manager takes care of the public safety department, so they take care of the CSOs, animal control, the bylaw and like. They don't take care of
So
it.
you're gonna find another person to look after the immigration.
It's usually if I go on vacation, another director will assist me with that, and it's usually, Lyle will assist with that, because Lyle is a part of recreation as well, so Lyle will usually assist with that.
Okay. Second part of the question is, the CSO today, what's the total number of CSO that employed?
That we have as today, we have three.
How many?
Three.
So one, two CSO in one vehicle, right? Correct? And then number three, can one person in one vehicle?
Yes, you can drive the other vehicle, but all three would work the same shift. So we could have two vehicles patrolling the streets right now, but the one CSO driving alone cannot get into, interact with, individuals. We would have to call his partners to come and assist.
So
That's for his safety.
is that necessary that you can have to hire another CSO, so you have two and two, they can change the shift?
Yes, we would be able to, the hope is if we did have two CSO, or we had a full complement of four, we would be able to work more than just the 7-hour coverage that we have right now.
Okay, thank you.
Anthony?
And I believe you're in the final process of identifying the fourth candidate.
Yes, we have one more training part that they have to take care of, and if that's done within the next couple of weeks, they'll be able to go down for training in October in Brandon.
Which will bring us up to 4.
Yeah, so I'll say two and two, and then you have two vehicles. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Fitzpatrick?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your report, Ted. Getting back to Councillor Long's question about the lemon. He can't sit and wait for a fare, like if he couldn't sit at the airport and wait for a fare.
You can sit at the airport, but you
Okay,
can't sit within the city limits.
okay, because that was my point, because in Winnipeg, the limo sit at the airport and they wait. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you for your, excuse me, thank you for your report. Next, we're gonna go to 6.3, Thompson Fire and Emergency Services. Ashley?
Evening, Madam Mayor, Council. Okay. Chief Malloy is away, so I'll be giving him reports. So for a month end for August, I'll start with our stats report and then follow up with our station report. For August, number of calls was 57, one general alarm. Year to date, number of calls was 382 with 14 general alarms. Year to date for 2023, we had 331 number of calls for August, leaving us with an increase of 15.41%. For ambulance responses, per month, 699, year to date, 5,814. Year to date for 2023, 5,637. For our inspection and prevention for the month of August, we have not, due to increase of our call volume and vacancy in staffing, we have not maintained our numbers for the month of August. Year to date was 6. For fire pit inspections, and special permits, new 3, renewals are at 2, year to date, 37, renewals 79, year to date for 2023, 19, renewals were 80. For our revenue for year to date, $6,241. Year to date for 2023 was $6,669. For our summer station reports, we have charting of our stats on different months, so I'll just give, go through them briefly. So as of now, we have 18 out of 24 firefighter paramedics positions filled within our department. Currently, there are no candidates on the short list. We're working with HR administration, to post job postings and on national websites to explore alternate options. Our vacancy rate right now is at 25%. So the table below highlighting our total calls from June to August, I'll just highlight our year-to-date calls. For the EMS side, full date for June was 812 for EMS. For July was 790 and August was 609. Full year to date for 2024, for those 3 months, 5,825. And for total to date for 2023 was 5,637. So with our EMS calls, we have an increase of 2.3%. For fire, total year to date for 2024, 382. Total to date for 2023, 331, with an increase of 15.4% for fires, general alarms. Giving a total for 2024 fire and EMS 6,206, and total for 2023 5,968, with an increase of 3.9%. For our double trips, meaning 2 or more ambulances are out at the same time. Total to date for 2024 2,796. Total to date for 2023, 2,590, with an increase of 11.8%. Their average increase overall is approximately 4%. But Thompson Fire and Emergency Services has shown a steady increase for the last 15 years with no increase in our staffing. The increase of double calls where 2 or more ambulances are being used at the same time highlights the needs for not only additional units from shared health, but also increase in staffing. Total units unavailability time for the city of Thompson at the end of August was a total of 847.47 hours, or equivalent to 35 days of unavailability. So we have surpassed the total unavailability hours in 2023, which was 405.75 hours. leaving us an increase of 108.8%. Next, we have our substance abuse calls. I'll just highlight the overall for the month of June. In our substance abuse, it's with our alcohol, marijuana, Lysol, hand sanitizer, cocaine, and psilocybin. That's everything combined. For June, our total number is 255. July, 183, and August, 168. For July, on July 24, 2024, we lost the Westwood Elementary School in a fire. Cause of the fire, according to investigator from the office of the fire commissioner, was electrical. The loss of this school has impacted our residents of Thompson. Even though there is no serious injuries sustained in this fire, Thompson Fire and Emergency Services battled this fire for nearly 39 hours while attending an additional 43 responses with 38 EMS calls and 5 fire calls. And thank you to Valley and its members for attending with its aerial units. And a big thank you to the Mystery Lake School Division staff for its hard work to relocate all its staff and students of Westwood to Jinker and Brentwood schools. Fire presented some operational challenges, mainly in our inadequate water supply, and secondary, the interruption of the operation itself by the multiple calls. On August 8th, the city of Thompson received a draft copy of the service purchase agreement from Shared Health with proposed changes to the ambulance service, and it is being sent to legal for review. August 17th, met with representatives from the Wellgarity Center to bring forward issues, concerns at TFES that we may have with our homeless, vulnerable population. Meeting went well, and I'm looking forward to seeing some changes. On August 19th, Minister Bushy and Mayor Snoop toured the fire hall and spoke briefly with some of the duty crew working and discussed the need for additional resources, both for ambulance and staffing. August 27th, Manitoba Health and Compliance and Inspection Branch conducted its annual inspection of its EMS units for the city of Thompson. Its upcoming land license for 2025. The inspection went very well. On the evening of August 28, 2024 at 9:20, Thompson Fire and Emergency Services responded to a fire at the Water Ski Club. Due to the fire's growth and intensity on arrival, TFS were unable to save the building. The Twilight Water Ski Club closed its doors permanently on August 31st, 2021, after 52 years due to lack of interest and vandalism. Notable 2023 Thompson Fire and Emergency Services battled with 2 large fires where the community was directly impacted. Shoppers Drug Mart and McMoney Gates. Shoppers Drug Mart has already set up temporary locations, and McMoney Gates is rebuilding. Shoppers Fire March 2023, seeing the department battling fire for a total of 36 hours. During this time of the fire, Thompson Fire and Emergency Services also responded to additional 25 EMS calls, 1 fire call, and 1 cardiac arrest. In July 2023, McMoney Gates fire lasted 18 hours during the time of the fire. Thompson Fire Emergencies responded also to 23 EMS calls and 2 additional fire calls. Keeping in mind, there was no leave for staff. For an example, the fire in Brandon, Manitoba in 2018, where the fire ripped through its downtown area, 9 communities came to the city of Brandon's aid to alleviate Brandon fire paramedic services from attending EMS calls. So it's 60+ members can focus on the fire without interruption. So with that, I just want to take this time to thank and acknowledge the men and women of Thompson Fire and Emergency Services. All branches are full-time members, dispatch and auxiliary. go above and beyond to keep the city safe. That their time and service to our community is invaluable and greatly appreciated. Thank you.
And thank you. And again, we thank you for all the men and women in all the great service to our community. Comments, questions? Councilor Wong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Deputy Chief, for the report. I believe that's a typo, but I want to clarify with you, okay? In your memo and your report, August, the total call from the EMS and fire general alarm, 665 showed on your memo. But on your report, it shows 699. Is there something that need to be explained or? So it's a 4 different event that not.
Oh, so for the month of August?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we had 699 ambulance responses, and we had 1 general alarm and,
I get that, but what I'm saying on your memo,
609.
you show total of 665, so there's 4 different. Is that something that into?
oh yeah, sorry, that's a typo.
It's a type,
Yeah,
right?
we did have 2
So
general.
it's 664, 665 or 669? Or 699, sorry.
699.
So it's 699.
Yes.
So hope can.
Yeah, because the fire chief wrote this, not the deputy, so we'll get the fire chief to clarify that. Which is the
Okay,
correct number.
so if let's say there's a typo, just make it reflect, change it, and second question. Appreciate for that substance abuse data. Can I have a little bit more clarified based on all this number? Are those included all the resident call as well, which is like, let's say, I'm a drunk, so I got this call from my family, you come in the tent, are those included within the report? Or it's just all this substance abuse is all from the street that calls the ambulance?
No, it's specific, it's just in general of any resident. It's not,
Included the resident,
yeah, it's not just specified, yeah.
just your best guesstimation. What's the percentage of those compared?
So we're about, with our substance abuse calls, about 1/3 of our calls are, more than 1/3 are
From
substance.
taxpayer or
Yeah.
housing?
Yeah,
You know what you're saying?
No, I think what the deputy chief is saying is about 1/3 of the calls that they're responding to are substance abuse related.
Yeah.
I think what you're asking for is which are from private homes versus which are downtown.
Yes.
That I would say we shouldn't speculate. We'd have to ask the department to do a breakdown for you to get that information. I wouldn't want to put the car on the spot, but we could,
That's
I don't know if we
that's fair,
collect that.
that's fair.
but we would have to do an analysis to figure that out.
Because to me, that data is very important. Need to know, I believe all my colleagues also like to know as well, right?
Yeah.
So there's a comparison, but I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah, other than that, I'm good, thank you.
Councilor McIver.
I have a question here. When you say the fire in Brandon 2018 or the fire in downtown area, outline communities came to Brandon's aid. So when you have a fire here, do you have all your firefighters going out?
Yes, we do. We have Valley as well. With mutual aid, so that's everybody. We're highlighting the difference of the impacts it has on our community. With our staffing and our equipment that we do have our resources compared to Brandon, where they have double the members, and yeah, we're the second busiest place in Manitoba.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, for that. Thank you. The other question I have is, like you say, there's 36 hours here and like, who relieves you guys? Like, if there's 36 hours of fighting fires and, like we have all the firefighters out there, EMS. And then nobody's relieving you guys, and then you say here in Brandon, that hope like communities come and relieve them, but you guys don't.
So we have,
You go full.
yeah, we do have rehab stations, we go in shifts, but yeah.
Pretty sure. Counselor Mark.
That sounds like a long shift. Long shift. Oh, thank you, thank you, Deputy Chief, for the report. And we only have 18 of the 24 that we're supposed to have. And that hasn't changed for 15 years, so. We've had a steady increase of calls of about 4% for 15 years. How many auxiliary do we have?
We have 16 auxiliary,
So they'll come and help you during
yes.
the nasty fires. Okay, I think we have passed it.
Yeah, I think we've done some analysis and we're showing a lot of the growth in the numbers has been related to EMS, I believe, right?
Yes,
That's a lot of the growth there. As well as being linked to calls between the medevacs in the hospital. We've been driving a lot of extra growth. Some of the models that we've seen looking at the numbers of shared health in the department look like just to cover those peak hours, we would need an additional 1 to 2 ambulances that would likely have to run just to make up the demand for the hospital. So we're just waiting for the numbers back. We provided financial data to the province and they're gonna make up a pitch to the city on what a funding model would look like to hire additional staff. I'm hoping we can set that meeting. We still haven't gotten the numbers. We've been asking for months. We're hoping to set up a meeting later this month or in October as soon as possible so that we can show council what the province is offering. And there'll be a more detailed breakdown on what those additional calls have been over the years. So yeah, it's very clear on the ambulance side, especially it's very under-resourced.
Well, I think that having that information, thank you for that, is great, and it would be great when we talk to the problem. But it's not only with ambulances, where are we gonna house those ambulances? We don't have the room for 2 more into the current barrel.
Those are some of the discussions we had with the province as well. The province wanted to just fund staffing. And we've made it very clear in our discussions with them that it also has to come with capital and operations and maintenance dollars. The way that we're currently funded doesn't account for that. So in a way, the city is subsidizing that side of the operation. Where it should really be, that's a provincial responsibility, so they should be funding that. So again, that's what we brought up and we're hoping to get that in front of council.
that was our,
We've been talking about that, and even the fact, if we did have more ambulances, there's 1 ambulance bay at the hospital. So right now, they're sometimes lined up 2 deep or 3 deep the odd time if you have somebody from out of town and an ambulance coming, so there has to be changes on the whole system to accommodate this properly. We've given them all the scenario, showed them all the stuff, so we're definitely working. Hopefully sooner than later.
yes, thank you, our EMS coalition, thank you for that. 80% of our calls are EMS calls. So that's why we gave the numbers of how many hours we're actually on scene, and then our response calls, 43-36 of EMS calls that take our members away. You know,
Thank you.
Councilor Wong?
Thank you. I'd like to add one more, since I know it's out of topic of the report, but since the increase of the call annually, but the number doesn't match to me. Budget perspective. How come the revenue of the ambulance is not increasing? That part I kind of not quite understand that.
The revenues are always that are shown are projected. It depends what can be collected. So some people don't pay the bills, obviously. There are certain federal agencies that are very difficult to collect from. And then they will not pay after a certain amount of time, but they have very convoluted paperwork on how it can be collected. So sometimes it takes our staff 6 or 7 different submissions to get that payment in. I believe that the cities had that problem in the past, where we had to fight with the province to get paid. I believe with the new council, we managed to get 80% of that paid in the past, but, yeah, just because an ambulance goes, and then there's people who refuse the ambulance, it'll show as a call. Because the ambulance was dispatched and it took staff away from that, but that doesn't necessarily mean they get in, so there's no one to bill, there's no one to collect. So there's all kinds of scenarios that can play out on why revenues wouldn't necessarily go up. And then if you also think, just because there's a revenue with shortages and running extra ambulances, now you're running overtime. So there's an offset, so just because you have a revenue going up, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're making a profit per se, because you're also spending on the other side to run overtime to try to meet the demand. So there's all kinds of ways that that plays out, and that's some of the scenarios that I think Lynn's been working with the province to show. And that's why the province is saying it would need almost 2 more ambulances, just to cover that, to reduce the overtime, would recover additional staff. So those are discussions that council would have to have.
Well, I appreciate the breakdown, but expenses is still, the call is the call. The expenses go to use up anyway, whether you collect or not. But the revenue, or whether you collect or not, the revenue should be there because of the budget. But the gap, I'm talking about the gap is huge based on what you just explained. Where those will be covered, that's my other question, but I'm not gonna talk about this today. But after you guys explain, it's just right away strike my mind like doesn't match up the number.
That's exactly correct.
Appreciate that.
So that's why we're pushing that the funding model has to change. Because right now, I would say the way that it's funded by the province puts us in a deficit. It's not a self-balancing system. And that's also why we haven't been able to hire more staff, is we don't have, the way that they're paying us, we don't have the money to hire more staff. And that's what this new agreement would be set to address. And then council have to decide if they're providing sufficient revenue or sufficient payment.
Thanks for the update. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much, Jackie. 7.1, we have removed from the agenda. 8.1 is a memo from the fire chief regarding the fire protection agreement between Valley and the city of Thompson. Is that Ashburn or Anthony or going to take that?
You can if you'd like, I can if you don't want.
Okay, I can. So this is a fire protection agreement with Valley. So fire protection agreements are essential for allocating resources, equipment, and personnel between jurisdictions such as Valley and the city of Thompson. In the event of an emergency that exceeds the capabilities, resources of either or. The primary objective is to facilitate the rapid short-term deployment of emergency support prior to, during, and or after an incident. Over the years, both organizations have called on to assist with each other's emergency, most notably 2008 Mill Fire Valley, 2018 Interior and Fire, 2023 Shoppers Drug Mart and Fire, 2024 Westwood Elementary School. The recommendation, the city of Thompson and Valley enter into a formal fire protection agreement that will benefit both the community and its stakeholder for the months and years to come.
Thank you. Anthony?
Yeah, I can also add that on this one, it's been quite a long time in the coming. It's been reviewed by Valley's legal counsel, the city's legal counsel, as well as the office of the fire commissioner. And all the concerns that were brought up throughout the process were addressed. You'll notice that it's not called a mutual aid agreement, it's called a fire protection agreement. The reason for that is mutual aids are usually between municipalities, because this is between a municipality and a private company. It uses slightly different terminology, so you'll notice that throughout. The fire commissioners noted that this would be a very unique agreement in the province. Most other communities, as the deputy chief has said, can call on other communities to help them, but the fire commissioner, through our lobbying and past incidents, has recognized that the city is in a unique situation. We're not having any communities nearby. And that's why they're encouraging us to do this this way. This is also, I have to say, has been vetted by the city's insurance company. So this was sent to our insurance and they're also in agreement with this. So as the deputy chief said, the recommendation is that we'd sign this and make it formal. We're already doing it, but this clearly outlines whose responsibilities are where.
Thank you. Any comments, questions? Counselor Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I'm total agreement with this. I was on the LA Fire Group for 5 years and as the fire chief has said, they're short staffed all the time and there is no relief, so I see this as a good fit and works out pretty good.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well, I think, oh, Anthony?
Oh, no, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a very good agreement, just being at the McMahon, fire and that, and just watching the way everybody worked together. It definitely, the crews, do work, great together. It's, good to see it for our community, for the benefit of us all. So thank you very much. So I think the recommendation would be, can this be moved forward to the regular meeting of the council Monday night by show of hands? Yes. Okay. 9 is legislative. 9.1. It's a letter from Honorable Wong Canoe, Premier Manitoba, in regards to receiving a one-time Orange Shirt Day Fund grant. Anthony.
I'll go to the director for this one, but it's really just a funding letter that the director applied for.
Yeah, this is a one-time grant, that was put out and, we applied and received $9,000. We're going to be partnering with the Mahoney Tech Friendship Center, to facilitate, the events. So our events coordinators going to work with their events coordinator. We're looking to have an event right now. It's set for September the 27th. Outlining the agreement, or the grant agreement, we had to outline exactly what we're going to do. So we have to follow the rules that we applied for. So we're hoping to put on a really nice event on the 27th. NKO is going to be putting another event on September 30th. At the rec center, so it's going to be a kickoff to the event.
Anthony?
I'll just also note that the province has already we've only gotten this letter a few weeks ago or a week ago, and they've already contacted me twice to ask why we haven't signed it yet. So we're hoping to bring it for resolution at the next week's meeting.
With that, do you need a okay by us to bring it forward for resolution?
That would be the request from the evening, yeah.
Who's on board for bringing this forward as a resolution? Carried.
So they won't release the money without signing.
That's correct.
Move on. 9.2 is a letter received from Thompson Seniors Community Resource Council in regards to redirecting the donations received from the city of Thompson. Anthony.
So there's a letter received from the Thompson Seniors Community Resource Council for the $2,500. There's a request that the dollars be repurposed for different uses by the council. The administrator reviewed this. Our recommendation to council would be to allow the Seniors Community Resource Council to repurpose this funds to how they're proposing, and just simply provide a report back to council. If the funds are repurposed that way, wouldn't require a resolution. We'd simply send an email or a letter allowing, indicating council's indication that you were in favor of that. If not, then we would follow your direction.
Comments? Let's go with Councilor Landmark first this time.
Yeah, I appreciate that they put this request forward. They have plans for it. Sad that the original purpose didn't happen, but and that there wasn't enough interest there, but yeah, I like the what they're gonna plan to do with it, and I'm okay with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Wall?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just I think you touched on a little bit of the city manager. I thought under the act, we suppose if the purpose is not there, we need to rescind it or something like that and change it, right? Because we approved the resolution for doing this specific event. But now because the event is no longer, so we have to.
I
You
understand
understand what I'm saying? I
yes.
try to figure out.
I spoke to our CFO about that. She didn't feel that a resolution was required, but if council's more comfortable with the resolution, we can bring one next week. That's
Just
very
a
simple.
legality purpose, I think, believe, right?
If council prefers that, is more comfortable with that, that's not a big deal. We can bring a resolution next week.
So I just,
Any other comments? Councillor McFarland.
Thank you, Madam. I'm in agreement with the seniors to really. It's unfortunate their band was canceled, so. I'm in agreement too, if we need to bring it to council, either way, it's. We can't, cardinal language, but it can be Indian givers to take it back, you know what I mean? But it's, the seniors are better to continue to use it.
Thank you.
If there's more comfort in bringing a resolution, we'll prep one for next week. It'll just redirect the funds, allow the funds to be redirected as requested, sure.
just for me.
Councillor Chong, you had a comment?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have no problem for the senior resource council to have the money for future, like any event you to come up. They really have the funding. So,
They said in the letter what they were gonna use it for there, so. Councillor Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I'm absolutely in favor of this, whether we gotta bring a resolution or not, that's fine. But,
Okay,
I think this fits well with, what the seniors are trying to do and, let's, keep supporting them.
yeah, I agree that it's nice to see us older people looked after. And that have been around 50+ years, so. If council by show of hands is a bit more comfortable with the resolution, show of hands and we'll do a resolution for Monday.
Sure.
Okay. So the resolution will do Monday that seniors may keep their money and as per your letter. Thank you, thank you. Next is 9.3, a letter from the Association of Manitoba Municipalities in regards to resolution number 03-2022 on the issue of ice plant operators. Company.
So the city of Thompson's lobby efforts on this matter have been the leading lobbying efforts in the province. And a number of the other cities and communities have come on board with this. This was passed as a resolution at AMM back in 2022. And they've been lobbying on our behalf to the province on this matter. The province has proposed to make changes now. That would be somewhat in keeping with what we've requested through the lobby efforts for the ice plant facility operators regulations and the way the tests would be set up. They've currently got public engagement set up on Engage Manitoba, where members of the public and members of different municipalities can go make comment. So I believe our technical staff are making comments on those matters. And I believe, not to put the director on the spot, I believe we're putting something together for council, just kind of a brief on what the issues are. And if council members want to also make comments, just so they know where to go. But it's just letting us, the city know that because this matter has been almost seen through, that the AMM will be discontinuing this matter as the province has taken action as requested.
Any comment? Councillor Palmer.
This is nice to see it. I'm happy that we kept on pushing for it because there's so many small arenas in the province that have to close their doors. We came close a few times. It's, I don't know, people realize what a pain this is, but I'm glad there's something going forward.
Thank you. Councillor Wong.
Madam Mayor, thank you. I think my suggestion should keep it on until they're completed. Because it happened before when I was on the AMM, they tried to lift the Highway 6 issue as well, because they said they will look into it and deal with it. My perspective is until they complete, otherwise we shouldn't lift the resolution, keep it there for lobbyists until we see them complete the whole task. That's my opinion, but it's up to the rest. That's how I look at it.
Thank you. Anthony.
Yeah, I don't think the letter is asking us if we approve of them removing it. They're telling us that the AMM board of directors have removed it. So it'd be up to this, yeah, that's if the second paragraph there.
So remove.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're there.
Oh, shame on you guys.
But my understanding is
We
if
don't know how to lobby.
it's not
Anyway,
resolved,
all right.
then the city can bring the issue back forward.
We'll definitely be back at them if it's not.
No,
We're
you're wrong.
at them continually.
You're looking
Councillor
back, going
Fitzpatrick.
backward.
Thank you, Bear. And yeah, you're right, Councilor John. They should have probably not necessarily removed it, but they should have just kind of kept
Keep
it
it aside.
in the wings. One of the things they have found out when they went through this was that, the tests weren't really sufficient for what, was required. There was a lot of, information on the test that didn't pertain to any ice plant operations at all, so it was a lot of redundant stuff that people that actually didn't study. This is one of their findings.
Thank you. Any other comments? It's definitely a good move for all of Manitoba when they're doing this. And Duncan, just for your information, there's a lot of people that'll be still on their cases to make sure this is moving forward.
Yep.
So with that, all for adjournment. Chair Fitzpatrick, Councilor Landmark, all in favor. Good day, buddy.